Afternoon, everyone. We are ready, Emily. Good afternoon, everyone. It is November 1st, 12 noon, Central Daylight Savings Time. We are having a Dharma conversation. And there are so many things that are up. We thought we would bring life and Dharma together in our Dharma conversation today. We are in the midst of a resurgence of the COVID crisis. And the first sermon that Buddha gave included talk of old
Lama Namgyal, I believe there's some freezing on your end. So if you're speaking, let's wait a moment. Okay. I see you moving again.
Oh, you saw some freezing. Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay.
Looks like we're good.
So in the first sermon, Buddha talked about old age, birth, old age, sickness, and death, and also conjunction with that which is unbeloved, separation from that which is beloved. And certainly during this medical crisis, which is now going on about 8 months, there has been much old age, sickness, and death, and separation from that which is beloved, and conjunction with that which is not beloved. And also, we're in a moment in the United States, at least, of extraordinary political moment. And there's a lot of intensity for everyone. And people are extremely partisan. And as I talked about in the morning Dharma talk, there are ways in the Dharma teachings to consider that people aren't just what they seem. One way we do that, we cultivate equanimity by realizing that we were all in a close relationship with those whom we may feel are our enemies in this life, but we were in a close relationship in past lives. Another way is for us to contemplate that all beings, all sentient beings, have Dharma, have Buddha nature, that every sentient being is in fact a Buddha. It's just clouded over. And also there is always the practice of Donglen available for us when we're overwhelmed with anxiety or frustration or anger or hate, where we realize that and we touch into our own experience and make an aspiration to alleviate all beings from their frustration, their anger, their hate, their suffering with our experience of the same. So there may be ways in which we are not remembering Dharma at all nowadays. Maybe we're so absorbed in anxiety and upset, we just going through life. And or there may be ways in which all of the things that we're experiencing day in and day out are reminders of old age, sickness, and death, birth, old age, sickness, and death, and or conjunction with that which is not loved, or separation from the loved. Or we may find that we have opportunities to practice Donglen, or we may notice that we are calling to mind that we are having some real negativity, and then we remember to think about our relatedness in past lives, and or the fact that all beings have Buddha nature. Everyone, I'm sure, is different. And so we will break up into groups of 3. How many people do we have? We have 2, 5, 8, 9, including me is 9. So we will break up into 3 groups of 3. David?
Hey, yeah, Harvey, I'm going to have to leave in about 10 minutes.
All right. Well, you can join. So we'll have one group of maybe 4 with David in it. And so one group of 4. And will that work? Let's see. 4 and then that doesn't work either. There'll be 2, 5, and 8. Let's do one group of 5 and one group of 4. And then we'll end up with 2 groups of 4. Okay, Emily?
Okay, just give me one moment.
And then we'll do 20 minutes conversation. One group of 5, one group of 4. Ruth, are you going to be able to participate? Is Ruth on board? I can't hear you. Are you muted? You're still muted. I can't hear you.
Ruth, can you unmute one more time?
You're unmuted. Oops, we're not hearing you. You may need to restart your computer if that's still a problem. If you're unmuted, we're not hearing you. Oops,
Right.
James is just...
Hold on. Ruth, you're unmuted now. Can you say something? It's not working. So Ruth, what you'll do is the microphone button in the bottom left-hand corner, there's an up arrow. You'll click that and you'll click test speaker and microphone. I'll put the instructions in the chat box for you.
James, are you going to be participating? James, are you participating?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed. Were there instructions at the beginning? I missed a little bit.
We're basically going to have a little Dharma conversation about how we're being reminded of Dharma practice nowadays. Are we thinking when we're upset with people, are we thinking about that we were related in prior lives, or that they have Buddha nature? Or are we thinking about old age, sickness, and death? Are we turning towards Donglen practice when we're frustrated, angry, and upset? Just to see, are these moments when Dharma is coming into our life currently, given the political situation and the medical situation?
Yeah, thank you.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minus 1. So let's have 3, 3, and 4. Is that going to work?
Okay.
Very good. We will be in breakout rooms for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope we can get Ruth to work. You may have to turn off Ruth and then turn back on.
Oh, did she disappear?
I think she's probably turning her computer off.
Okay, I am starting the rooms now.
Oops, oh boy.
Harvey, you'll accept over on the broadcast computer and you'll be able to sit with your mic in this camera. If that works for you, but it won't be recorded on YouTube.
So you want me to go to the broadcast computer?
Go to the broadcast computer, click yes. Actually, yeah, that's what you're going to have to do. Go to the broadcast computer, click yes, and then come back and sit there with that mic. Oh, shoot. Okay, sorry. I'm going to have to mute the broadcast computer. You'll turn on the audio for oh, no.
Let me get on my computer. I think that's going to be the
Yeah,
simplest thing.
All right, Ruth, do you want to try and see if that mic works now? Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, I'm muted. Can it work?
I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
Oh, we're getting there.
Let me see. Do you see an invitation to join a room?
Not yet.
Okay. If the invitation isn't popping up, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you to leave and come back on one more time. Okay?
Will do.
I'm going to join a breakout room, dear.
Oh, and then I can't go into your study and use your Xerox machine?
You can.
Okay.
So Emily, can you hear me?
Yes, I've admitted you in and I will put you in the room and then I'm going to mute the broadcast computer so that it doesn't catch you. Remember to unmute it when you come back.
Yeah.
Harvey, you need to leave that room. Do you see the meeting invitation or the room invitation?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Jennifer, we're in room. Oh,
technologically challenged, and we've met the challenge. So, Jens, hello. Where are you, Jens?
Outside of Stockholm, Sweden.
Holy moly. Well, welcome, and how wonderful to get somebody on the outside of Stockholm, Sweden. Welcome.
Thank you.
How did you hear about us?
Well, quite a few years ago, I was reading one of your books, and you made a point that just transplanting the traditional view on anger as a sort of a sinful activity is complicated for Westerners. And I thought that was a really good point.
Thank you.
And then I've been sort of tracking all along, and then yeah, for various reasons, I'm more actively interested in trying to evaluate the possible fit for me and the Sangha.
Great. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's very lovely to see you. I really appreciate your showing up, and you have a colleague sitting in Amsterdam, and the Kaisu is from Amsterdam, originally from Finland, even closer to where you are, actually.
We're in the same breakout room, so that was
Oh.
really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful. So what did we learn? About yourselves, not about your colleagues, but what came up? What reflections came forward for you? Or
well, essentially, I guess the what to say about Kali Yuga is quite true. It makes for a steep practice, so it's easier to fall off the horse of your practice. But if you can stay on, then it is rewarding. It certainly is, and it's been very trying in that way. And I was also thinking about, because in my group there was a talk about how to relate to people whose opinions are so vastly different from yours, and I just started associating to the practice of chud, of sort of giving up or dropping the attachment of getting along or being comfortable in other people's company and so on, and just compassionately staying present in something that is ultimately very uncomfortable and very provoking for you. So
do you find that doable, or is it a challenge, or that at least is a kind of practice area for you? You're noticing that you're engaged in that, or you actually can do it and do it with some grace?
I can do it sometimes, and sometimes I'm attached to my anger. I enjoy being angry with bad people, and I feel uncomfortable dropping it. And I'm not really an angry person, but it's just really sometimes it feels good to be angry with bad people.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. There's at least some psychotherapist that I like his work. His name is Stasny. Had a tape on anger, and he described anger as a kind of anesthetic that, I mean, of course, when we're angry, we're feeling some kind of unhappiness or whatever, but it actually kind of anesthetizes everything else. So it's interesting. It can be something we do stay attached to. What about other people? What observations did other people have? Rachel is coming on. Wow. We will welcome Rachel. Rachel, are you there? You can show yourself if you wish to. Anybody else, any other observation? Hey, Rachel, nice to see you. Where are you, Rachel, by the way?
I am in New York now.
You are in New York. Wow.
Yeah, nice to see everyone.
Yeah, we had breakout rooms about talking about the applicability of Dharma kind of perspective in time of COVID now, and also the political climate that we're in. Just how are people seeing their Dharma perspective playing itself out in their lives. So we're kind of debriefing, but please stay. It'd be lovely to have you participate, be here at least. Anyone else, things that came up for you in the conversation that you want to share or observe? Anyone, anything? Nancy.
I was excited to see a couple people from the Dharma Net and hear what's going on and feel like I'm connected in the big world instead of just this tiny world that I live in. The feeling of connection and hearing how tough it is and isn't for other people who think the same way I do was just nice for my heart. I'm a happy person.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting us know. Yeah, appreciate that. Anyone else? How is Dharma present or absent in your life situation now? Or how invaded are you by whether it be health concerns or political concerns or world concerns or...
I would be interested in hearing which practices people find working for them, because it just seems like I get sort of a different response on different practices I'm trying in these particular times.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we know which ones are sort of broadly recommended, such as Tonglen and so on, but I just would be curious to hear if there are any specific ones that, yeah.
Jindati.
I can see something to that. Pretty much the only thing that really works for me, Tonglen is great if I remember it, but sometimes if I feel so restless, it's even hard to do. Like breathing and being able to somehow turn my thoughts off is helping me most. So just to get in just if it's just a few seconds, you know, the mind going crazy, making up all these stories and getting pulled into collective unconscious and fear and all this kind of stuff and making up stories. But here I am, you know, looking at the ocean and so just breathing and just turning the thoughts off, that helps me most. And so the longer I can get into that space of just not thinking, the better. So that's what helps me most.
Yeah, thank you, Jindati. Anyone else? Kaisu.
For me, it's not just which practice, but whether I do it alone or in a group. So like I mentioned in our small group, I've done since March Vajrakilaya 3 times a week with the New York Sangha. And that's for me equally much about the practice itself and the Sangha connection. So maybe it's even more about the connection actually, but I do try to work with Dharma in creative ways, such as in the background you can see season's greetings from Dorje Purba, but to integrate purposefully, and I have all kinds of notes here around that I can see, and Green Tara picture for my work meetings, which now are on Zoom, so that I'm reminded by, and I have my mala, I mean, so almost work meetings become like practice sessions, because personally I'm so agitated often about them, but I'm not then doing any particular practice. I just have my ornaments, actually, in every sense of the word, are then present. So, but there is something about Vajrakilaya and the ego clinging, like in my particular situation, that I find helpful, as well as Nandro as a kind of backdrop of just keep going with that, to be able to see what's coming up today or in this moment, so that there's something. Anne has written a beautiful article on this. That's where this metaphor is coming from, that the practice serves as a backdrop against which you can actually witness change. So those Nandro and Vajrakilaya are for me in these times that I keep on doing often.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing of yourself. We would have one more person if somebody wishes to say something. James?
Harvey, I had a follow-up on your talk this morning. I don't know, it's maybe more than the time allotted, but I personally have found it difficult sometimes to acknowledge others' viewpoints as you were describing in a spiritual context, when they seem to fly in the face of what some might consider basic factual information. That's really tough to me. And sometimes the person who I may be discussing it with will receive it as not just like support for their person, but maybe support for their specific viewpoint, which I have some reticence for, and they may interpret, at least I would almost interpret as like kind of fueling the disinformation. Maybe I'm going too deep in the weeds, but I have some reticence about, like, I want to support them as a person, but I'm not sure I can agree with their viewpoint, and they may receive it as agreement or support for their viewpoint. I don't know if there's a disambiguation between our spiritual context being taken as support for their everyday framework. I don't know.
I think you're raising a very significant issue, and we're not going to be able to settle it today, or maybe even fully clarify it. But it's even when I work with couples, this comes up a lot. The fact that we acknowledge that we've heard someone or we get what their position is doesn't mean we agree with it. And depending on the nature of the relationship, you could even say, I hear what you're saying. Would you be interested in hearing what my perspective is? Now, nowadays, who knows if people are interested or not? But at that point, you could say, I heard what you said, but, now that you say that you're interested in hearing my perspective, this is what my perspective is. I respect your ability to have yours, but this is mine. So it's a great point you're bringing up, James, and maybe on another occasion we can belabor it a little bit more. But just because we acknowledge somebody's position doesn't mean we're agreeing with it. And I also appreciate that you don't want to feel like you're supporting disinformation. I get it. So it's a great something that you've brought up. And at this point, we have arrived at the time that we have set for this wonderful event. And I appreciate everybody showing up, and very much appreciating meeting. Do we say Yen? Is that your name? How do you say your first name?
In English, you would pronounce it like a Y, unstressed.
So Yen?
So, yeah. Yes.
Yen. Yeah. Great. So welcome. Lovely to meet you. And maybe we can just dedicate our merit for all of this. By this good may I swiftly once become a great guru, lead all beings, everyone, to reach to that very ground. And again, we will just announce on the 15th, on the 22nd of November at 1 p.m. Central Time, we're going to have a benefit. Look for an email to that effect. And Tuesday night, we'll be having a teaching on the benefits of meditation. And Lovely, lovely to see you all. And on Thursday at 2, there is a Rice University has got something on race and Buddhism. Lovely to see you. Stay healthy, everybody. And if you haven't yet in the United States, please do vote.
Good to see you,
Take care.
everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Good to see everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye
Till the
bye.
next time.
Vatana.
Hi. Hi, Kaisu. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Take
Ruth,
care, everyone. Be
Nancy.
safe,
Bye.
healthy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Love you all.
Love you.
Yeah.